Hey, what's up, everyone out there? Thank you so much for listening to another Addicted Fishing podcast. You guys have really been liking these things. I've been seeing tons of comments like, please make more podcasts, please. So we've been putting out a few. We put one out last week. We're going to record this one and hopefully get them out a little bit more consistent. But tonight, we actually have a special guest with us in this podcast. He's calling in all the way from, where are you at, mister? Introduce yourself.
Zilla, Washington.
Where?
Zilla.
What the hell's Zilla?
Yeah, it's just you come through like overstated fast, man. There's the city of Toppenish. I'm about 5 miles on the other side of Toppenish.
Ah, okay.
Well, now y'all know where Zilla is.
Yeah.
That's funny. I wonder how many cities in the state of Washington we have no clue about. Probably a lot.
There's tiny ones everywhere, bro. They're everywhere.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, yeah, guys, so we got Mr. Jared here from Yakima Bait Company. As you guys know, we're partnered with Yakima now, and hopefully you're going to be partnered with them well into the future. And so we brought him on to another podcast because I couldn't think of anyone else better to talk about some trout fishing, right. Considering this guy makes some of the best trout lures I think ever created, or at least one of the most popular ones.
For sure, man, for sure. Rooster Tail's been around for a while. I think everybody has a Rooster Tail story, that's for sure.
Do you remember your first fish you caught on a rooster tail? Because I remember mine, like, I really do.
Dude,
I really do, bro. Yep.
What do you got, Cam? Do you remember your first rooster tail fish?
Battleground Lake, rainbow trout pattern, gold spinner, sitting with my dad in a raft remember when they used to have the actual opening day weekends at Battleground Lake, and it wasn't year-round fishing? Yep. That thing if the brown trout pattern one with the gold blade just murdered. And if and this was back when I was like 8 or 9.
Oh yeah,
that definitely was the one.
I actually my first fish on a rooster tail was a bass. So I was trout fishing I was actually in Lacamas Lake, and they had just planted a bunch of trout in there, and so I was casting, I think it was a black and gold rooster tail. And I was casting it, and it just gets hammered. And I'm like, I remember like yelling for my friend, like, I got a giant trout on. And we get the thing in, and it's like a 3.5 pound bass. It just munched that rooster tail.
Smashed it.
And that was the first fish I ever caught on those. And then I remember thinking, oh, dude, we're going to smash the bass on these things. So we started fishing a lot of rooster tails for bass around there and catching quite a few on them. So I was pretty surprised by that.
The rooster tail is still my number one bass lure on the Columbia, bro. Yellow coach dog is money. But my first rooster tail fish, I was like 5 years old. We used to go to Packwood and stay with my cousins every year. And my aunt and them lived up there, and we'd ride our bikes all the way to the Upper Cowlitz River up by Ohanapikosh, which is like 6 miles. We were like 5 or 6 years old, dude. And my cousin's like, we got to stop at the sports hut, is what it was called then. And my dad gave me a couple bucks, and I bought 2 white coach dog rooster tails. My cousin said, that's the one. And we went and we mopped up on trout on the Cowlitz River way back when. It was in the 80s, bro. So
that's cool. That's a cool story.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I mean, 6-year-old kids ride their bikes, like 5 or 6 miles to go fish by themselves while their parents just hang out at the house. It's unheard of now, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. So today we thought we'd talk a little bit about just, fall and winter trout fishing, and maybe try to get some of your opinions on it, talk about some of the things that we think you need to do here in the fall and winter to get on these fish. I mean, we're really kind of almost out of the fall now that we're into November and going into the wintertime, and these trout tend to do a lot of different things in the wintertime versus what they're doing in the summer and fall months. So we thought we'd talk about some of that stuff today. So what do you like to do the most when you're out targeting winter trout? Like, what's your favorite method to go out there and really go after them?
Mine, I mean, it really depends, I guess, whether I'm fishing the river or the lake.
So let's just start with, let's just say a lake, because I think most guys are going to, most generally guys are going to be fishing them in lakes around here.
Right, and with Washington Department too, they're starting to do all their Black Friday stockings, and so when this podcast comes out, it's definitely time to partay on the lakes. So. Yeah, I mean,
there's tons of different useful techniques. My favorite from a boat is still pulling plugs, bro. Like pulling, small like F3 to F7 flatfish, or like, the 2025 mag lip. That's still the funnest, bro, because I don't care how old you are or what fish you're fishing for. When a rod buries from a plug takedown, it's the exact same excitement as if it's a 30-pound Chinook, right?
Oh, dude, it is. And actually, we just put a video on our Instagram, so it's funny that you say that, because I had a Blue Pirate Maglip 2.5 out, and because I was fishing a lake that you could do a 2-rod endorsement, so I had a Blue Pirate little tiny Maglip. I think it's your 2.5, isn't it? Your smallest one, the 2.5.
2.0.
2.0. So I had the smallest one that you make, basically Blue Pirate, and then on the other side I had a Brad's, one of their little wigglers in orange. So two completely different colors, two completely different plugs. But if you watch that Instagram video, dude, I just get a savage takedown. Like it just like buries the rod and just starts ripping line off. And especially on these ultralight rods that you're using, it is fun. I don't care what anyone says. It's fun.
Yeah, man. I mean, and from the bank, it'd be like a rooster tail, or we use a lot of corking a power bait, bro. Is a really good thing to do, man. It's pretty simple. I can't. After all the fishing that we do now, and it's so high maintenance, I'm like geared different at this point, other than sitting and waiting for bite, unless I'm fishing for sturgeon.
Yeah, you're right. But talk a little bit more about, because there is a lot of guys that do fish. Like I like to fish the power eggs or the power bait. But I think one underutilized method is actually adding that corky to your setup, because one thing that could help huge with that, for one, it makes your stuff float better. For two, we all know how easily power bait comes off of your hook. So if those trout sit there and bite, and then for some reason they get all that power bait off of there, well, guess what? They still have something bright orange or bright pink or bright yellow that's sitting there with that power bait scent on there that they want to eat.
Yeah, man, it's the same method you would use standard with power bait. And what I tell everybody is, the corky it gets you up above that bottom moss or that bottom layer, because we all know those fish can only see up, and so it's really simple. A size 12 corky, size 12 treble. Size 14 corky, size 14 treble, and that will float that up with that small amount of power bait on it. To whatever your desired depth off the bottom is. What I tell people to do is, when you walk up to the bank, you're looking at your leader. Most of us already rigged, but if you see 30 inches of grass, right, like you're going to need 36 inches of leader to get it above the grass, right, to float it up. And so that's the biggest point, I think, for a lot of people that don't understand, is that leader length with the corky and the power bait, because that buoyancy is going to lift it. But, if you throw out and say, you're fishing 22 inches of grass, you don't really know it, and you got 24-inch leader, you could still catch fish, but the power bait doesn't have enough buoyancy to really break up through that grass. And adding that corky on there, it will actually help push it up through that grass a lot of times. And so you do put it where cruising fish can find it. It is an extra visible, extra vision point for those fish to key in on. And I mean, everybody's got a ton of corkies, bro. And not, they're cheap. They're cheap, right? Like you can buy, generally 3, 4, 5 for $1, depending on where you're at. And so it's something real simple you can add to your arsenal. That just makes you more effective out there trout fishing. And the biggest thing I can stress, which you guys know, is if you're trout fishing with bait, right, slip, sinker, swivel, leader, hook, or corky, and then your hook and your bait, right, and don't reel your line down tight. Leave a little slack in that thing so that they can pull that stuff through. And it's pretty much game on. Just let them eat it. And that corky, I found with the corky too, I found that they eat the bait a lot better, because once they get that corky in their mouth, it kind of holds that power bait and that hook back in there and gives them more of a chance to, get hooked, other than just chewing the power bait off the hook, right?
Yeah.
It's like the biggest correlation. I tell you guys sturgeon fishing, I go, it's always safer to use a little more lead than you think, just to make sure you're on the bottom. But when it comes to power bait fishing, I think the biggest error, like people, if they're standing or sitting right next to somebody on the bank and one guy's getting them and the other guy's not, and they're both using power bait, you can probably bet 9 out of 10 times it's because they're using a hook that's a little too big, or using a little bit of line that's a little too heavy, and they're not getting that flotation out of that power bait, and that corky just completely fixes that error.
We should probably talk to Mustad about creating a power bait treble. Specifically made.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Well, then we got to sit there and freaking go trout fishing for the next 6 months and test the living crap out of it. That's what's out there. Well, I guess we got a mission now, boys. Here we go.
Hey,
power bait.
That'd be a good contest for some viewers, man, to write some reviews back or whatever and have them test.
Well, we've done it with bead hooks. Why not?
Yeah, why not, man? I mean, why not? But, you're tried and true methods there, for sure. I mean, I know, Buzz, whenever he goes and fishes Rolling Lake, which he does every opener for every year, right? And before we had the smaller mag lips, his favorite thing to do was either F5, F6 flatfish, right? And he would take either the metallic silver or metallic gold ones. And every one of them, he would take, generally take a red marker and he put 2 eyes on the tail of each one of those, right? Remember the old quick fish, different ones, they had the eyes on them, right? And everybody thought that was just for look. The older I get, I don't think it's just for look, because we all know dots catch fish and eyeballs are dots. So could be a little trick of the trade that might help people out too.
No, you're right. That's a really good idea. So one thing I find a lot when the water starts getting colder, and the reason I like to fish more towards the bottom, and even if I am fishing plugs, a lot of times I'll use some weight to try to get them down there, is these fish tend to go deeper, for sure. Once this water gets colder, a lot of these fish go deep. Even when these fish get freshly stocked in some of these lakes, we've found that like within a day or less, these fish find like the deepest part of the lake, and that's where they chill.
Yeah, man, and a lot of reasons for that, right? They don't got eyelids, so they don't like that on them. And, they're nervous. A lot of them are planted just out of the hatchery and, predators overhead for sure. And they're just more lethargic. And I think they find those places just like winter steelhead do, bro. If you fish a winter steel like you fish a summer steelhead, you're probably not going to catch very many. And so, same with the trout, man. You kind of got to change your method up a little bit, right? Like, I fished with Herzog on a few rivers for trout casting rooster tails, man. And he's fishing a 16-ounce rooster tail and a giant split shot. And we're fishing, 12, 15-foot pockets for these winter trout. And they're holding on the seams to where in the summertime you'd catch them in different water. But this is where we're getting them. And, last year we went and in that one day we got over 40 trout and we had 10 over 20 inches. These are wild trout in the river, right? But without that split shot on there, that 16-ounce rooster tail is not effective that time of year because I'm not getting it down to depth. So it's really interesting to learn, especially from Bill, right? I mean, he's like a, spinner spoon wizard. So it was really interesting to hear his take on that and then watch it in person. We pull up the hole and he's like, yeah, you're going to catch Leroy. Leroy's right there behind that rock. Throw that rooster tail out, count to 5 and start cranking. He goes, Leroy will bite. And sure enough, bro, you're going to get 20-inch trout in every corner. I'm like, wow, you spent a lot of time up here. But,
That's
that
really
knowledge is,
They got names.
yeah, Leroy, Frank, bro, so funny. I talked to Lucas Holmgren not too long ago, and he fished with his dog, and he's like, yeah, bro, I caught Leroy. And I said, well, I've caught Leroy. I said, that's pretty funny.
The rooster tail still tricks him.
Yeah, still, dude. It's pretty funny, man. Pretty funny. So, yeah, but the winter trout thing's a lot of fun, man, and I enjoy doing it. I like fishing the colder water trout better. I would do it more often, if I wasn't like you guys so busy, but it's fun. It's a great way to get out and, just kind of chill and low pressure fishing, especially after, the salmon seasons go, like this year, our salmon season was phenomenal and very long. So, trout fishing's kind of relaxing, kind of chill, kind of a good wind down before, the ramp up for winter steelhead, so to speak. So
yeah, absolutely. That's kind of with the same way we see it. We like to do a lot of that. One thing I love to do this time of year is chase all the coastal cutthroat that are coming into all the creeks and rivers around here. We get, in the Northwest out here, we get a nice run of just coastal run, sea run trout that come back to all these rivers and creeks and feed on salmon eggs and get ready to spawn. And it can be really fun this time of year. A lot of little bobber downs and stuff action in some of these creeks.
Last couple of years too, they've come back real strong.
Yeah,
like they've been performing really well. So it's not been a bad thing. And
there's some rivers around here that actually stock hatchery ones of those that you can go fish for and keep.
Harvest trout.
Yeah. And those are good
fish, man.
Good to eat, dude. So good.
I bet, bro. Yeah, I bet. Wow.
Actually, I think right now is the time to fish for them.
Super good.
Yeah, I think right now is the time to go fish for them.
Generally, like right now, they're all spawning or getting close to the creek that is blue on the old cow teats.
Yeah.
So there's some areas that, last year they were putting it out in the paper in October and November, like, hey, come catch all these cutties. They're performing really good. And they're hatchery fish. And we got 1,000 million of them. What's your favorite color combination for maybe some rivers, some coastal cutthroat, Jared?
Rivers, man, for me, it's always been the same. Everywhere I've ever been is either white, yellow, black, or brown.
Okay. Buggy.
Yeah. Natural.
That's it, dude. I mean, I've tried all the roost fields. I've caught fish on all of them, right? But in pretty much any river system, man, white, yellow, black, or brown, dude, I catch fish on all of them. I mean, if I'm just going my constant, and there's a lot of variations in between, like a white coach dog or a black chartreuse or grasshopper frog, all these different ones that have different variations of those colors. But I found with those basic colors, and I generally, a lot of what I'll do is when I look at the weather, right, and I look at the water, if it's overcast, bro, I fish brass. I try to fish brass blades. If it's really sunny and really clear water, I try to fish stuff with nickel blades. So that's really how I really dictate how I'm going to fish. Is that right there? And I take, I'll take a 16th ounce all the way up to, quarter, even 3/8 ounces, to these different fisheries because you never know when you get there, the water's going to be high, or if it's going to be lower and clearer than you thought, or whatever. And so you kind of have a tool in your toolbox for every situation for the trout type thing, So there's a lot of destination fisheries.
What about sizes? What's your favorite kind of sizes and stuff to throw in the rivers, and then talk about maybe lakes too?
So in rivers, man, again, it depends on, what river I'm fishing, but anything from our 1/16 to our 1/4 is pretty much my range I hang in throughout, and the reason being, for lakes or rivers is because, pretty much the same thing. How deep do I want to fish? And like I said, the profile when I was fishing with dog, that 16th ounce was the profile that they wanted, but they wanted it deeper. So we just added a split shot 3 feet above it. To where if I'm fishing lakes early in the mornings, I'm going to fish, before sun really hits the water, whatever, I'm going to fish those 206s and those 208s and try to target that top, 5 to 7 feet of that water column for at least the first couple of hours. And then, like you said, they go down deep and they hang there for quite a while. So if I need to target that deeper water, I'm going to have to do two things. I'm going to have to add a weight to one of those, or I'm going to have to go up in size like a 1/4 ounce, or a 6 ounce rooster tail to get that depth. Or you may have to cast a further distance, right? And everybody knows it's hard to cast when you have like a split shot and a lure. It's really hard to cast that type of stuff. But a bigger rooster tail like that 1/4 ounce, you can rocket fire those things a long ways. So it helps you, for distance as well. So, but the 206 or 212, which is our 16th, 1/8, 1/6, and 1/4, are our top sellers across the country. And they're the top sellers for a reason, because they pretty much can fit almost any profile, for any situation.
So on topic, but off topic a little bit, do you find anybody having a lot of success with kokanee and rooster tails? Like not in stream, staging to breed, but just out in the lakes, like trolling around?
Some, not a lot. And with the rooster tail itself, not a lot for kokanee. And I can't figure out the profile, even on a 16th ounce, is pretty big compared to a lot of the kokanee gear we fish. But the blades, I've had a lot of guys use the blades for different things. Like we make kokanee trolls and different things, and they love the blades, right? Like, Herzog used to buy them and cut the blades off and make his rascal lures with the rooster tail blade. But the blade is special. It is different. It is custom just for us. It is genuine silver, so it does reflect light a lot differently than a lot of other smaller blades. So super effective on that front for kokanee. But, it's hard because a lot of times we like that dodger, that little bit of action, those flashers. And, with the rooster tail being weighted, it just doesn't move like we would want it to.
Yeah, and kokanee are just weird little freaking creatures.
They're weird,
let's just be honest.
They're so finicky. They're so finicky.
Gotcha.
So, but spin and glow, obviously, that thing's money for kokanee. I've seen you fish them a ton for kokanee.
Yeah,
and so many other people,
Definitely go to. For sure. But now everybody does, so I got to find something different. That's why I figured I'd ask you about the rooster tail a little bit.
Yeah. No, when we've got stuff in the can, down the road for more kokanee gear, but, at this point in time, we're trying to catch up on all our extended orders right now. And so I haven't brought anything new to the table, which I got a ton, but I haven't brought anything new to bring out into any fishery.
Yeah, we should take that
until
off.
I get caught up.
We should definitely take that offline for sure, but you definitely need to let me know. What you got coming down the pipe. But like I said, it's going to be hard to beat. Like I said, it's going to be hard to beat a spin and glow, though.
Yeah, well, man, I got some stuff coming down the line that's going to be like, well, we might have to have a spin and glow and new lure contest one day. It's just kind of see, bro, which one's gonna go, because these new ones I've had R&D for a couple of years, bro, and I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like it. So,
something down the pipe for the season. That'll be cool.
Yeah. As soon as we get caught up, bro, I got some new stuff that's going to come out. That's we haven't seen it, and I had some help from some really cool pro staff guys, and they came up with something that's definitely unique in that kokanee world, bro. That's going to be something that's going to be hot, and it's really, really, really fishy, really durable, really long lasting, really, really, really cool. So I'm pretty pumped about it, and it's so hard in my position right now because I got all this cool stuff to talk about, and I got to be like, so.
Well, we're always trying to build a better mousetrap, right? So, that's everything evolves. So that's really cool to hear you guys are still on the front of that.
Oh yeah, bro, nonstop. It's just like your guys' slogan, educate, entertain, and inspire. It's the same thing we all try to do, right? We're gonna try to educate people on a new way to do things, and also inspire them to create their own. Come up with your own stuff and your own style, and and that's it's like the spinner thing, pro pretty much kind of started doing that a lot, and that kind of started going through the whole system. And now look at the spinner thing. I mean, who would have thought that after a fish flash and a herring, and then after a super bait, and then after a super cut plug, and then after this spinner thing, and then a spinfish thing, right, and all these other things. I mean, who would have thought that the game would change that much that fast?
Yeah, 10 years ago, if you would have told me we would be trolling salmon without triangles and bait, you'd have been laughed off the dock. Here we are.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
But yeah, it's the same with the trout thing, the kokanee thing. I mean, yes, you can go. I can go pretty much anywhere and catch trout with a rooster tail or a maglet, probably no problem. But there's more fun stuff out there to figure out, dude, and that's the coolest part about doing that. And like we're talking about the trout thing, there's so many cool destination fisheries. Like the Rufus Woods thing, that's ridiculous, right? And so
I've never done that. I want to.
Oh, bro, that's super fun. Super fun. I mean, it's a super fun deal, and it's super easy, super mellow. And the Pyramid Lake fishery, bro, that one is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I know you guys don't use river names, but lake names. I'm sorry about that, but
no, that place. We've been talking about doing that for freaking years. Yeah, we're doing that,
bro. My buddy is dialed in there. He's lived there his whole life. It's his home lake, and we were down there last year, and guys are catching 5 to 10 a day, and we were catching 60 to 80 a day, and all we do, we're trolling plugs, we're trolling maglet, spinfish, flatfish. But the second day we went out with this whole game on twitching, right? And this is another thing I want to bring up for trout too, is we twitched and we caught over 50. And we got one of those 19 pounds, dude. And nobody twitches really at Pyramid Lake. And so, I'm thinking, man, this trout twitching thing, right? And so Herzog, man, he is a trout twitching fool, right? And it is absolutely ridiculously money effective. And so you can simply just take your steelhead jigs in those, 1/15, 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, whatever, and hit these rivers and, the darker colors, your olives, your blacks, your browns, in twitching jig cases, probably like your chartreuses or whatever, but there's jigs out there that fit those and make them look like a stolpin, crawdad, anything that resembles that, bro, and twitching for trout is so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. Lake or river. So fun.
It's interesting that you say that because I've been working on something for a long time with those. Me and Jordan have. We've been doing some stuff there, so
we should share prototypes.
Twitching for trout is definitely something that works, and I know, you go east to the east side of the United States, like Pennsylvania, all those big trout states over there, New York, Pennsylvania. A lot of those eastern guys, they've been doing it for years.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years, bro. I mean, you're nymphing, right? I mean. You're nymphing. That's really what it is. It's just a different kind of, almost nymph in a way. And, but the twitching thing, man, it's such a huge technique that is fun, right? Buzz always says, if you can perpetuate technique, you can perpetuate the life of a product. And he's 100% right, because how much fun is twitching for coho? That will never go away. Ever. We'll twitch for coho forever at this point in time. And twitching for trout, just as fun because it's just like that plug takedown, right? When that plug goes down, it's still fun.
I will say, the more and more we've tested it, there's definitely certain scenarios you have to be in to get it to work. Because we've tried it pretty hard on hatchery, stalker trout, and you'll catch a couple, but you will not catch near as many as the dude next to you that's freaking fishing power bait or even casting a rooster tail.
Well, right. Well, I mean, the wild trout were spending their lives chasing stuff.
That's what I mean. It definitely works.
Correlates.
I'm not saying it doesn't work in those scenarios. It's just not going to be my preferred method, that's for sure, as we've tested it and tried it over the last couple of years.
So what I've found when it's most effective is when the bugs stop hatching, right? Like there's no more hatches, like right now or early in the spring before they hatch, and they don't have really any other source of food. And their only sorts of food are like helgramites, sculpins, crawdads, all that type of stuff, right? That's when it's super effective because that's when they're feeding on all those things hopping across the bottom. They're not really, there's nothing else for them to eat. And so that's when I've found it is most effective in rivers and lakes is when there's no hatch.
That makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. What time is it here, Clint? 6:17? How long have we been going for? How long have we been out? How long have you addicts out there been listening to us up to this point?
Yeah, let us know, please.
Let us know how long it is.
Well, I probably talked at least 19 minutes without one breath, so
23 minutes. 23 minutes. I think we should.
Well, there you go.
I think that's
You guys
pretty
talked
damn.
before. That
I
sounds
say,
all right.
I'm like, you left a lot. There's a lot on the table there that you just put up there, Jared. And talking twitching for trout, the colors, blade colors for overcast days.
This is definitely.
There's definitely been some quirky conversation with the power bait. There's a lot to digest on this podcast.
Good podcast for all you addicts out there. We appreciate you guys listening to us on these podcasts, and I appreciate the feedback of just telling us that you want more and more of these things. And so we're going to try to do it. We're going to try to ramp it up. We're going to try to record more of these podcasts for you and hopefully bring them into a video format as well. We do record every single one of these, and we've been kind of stockpiling it and not really knowing what we want to do with the video on the podcast. But we're going to try to bring more of that to you guys out there for sure. So, Jared, I appreciate you tuning in too. We got a live feed to go talk some more trout.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to do that. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. And if anybody has any questions, Yakima bait-wise, man, they can message me on my social media type stuff or whatever. I'm always happy to try to help out and answer any questions. So
yeah, if someone out there listening to the podcast does want to get a hold of Yakima Bait, how do they do it? Or you?
Well, I mean, I'm on Jared Higginbotham on Facebook and social media, Jared Higginbotham YBC. And if not, Yakima Bait has a website. We have some friends that run that, Facebook and Instagram. And if they have a question for me, man, they'll send them right to me. I have no problem doing that. I mean, you guys know this job is not really a job. It's just consistent, right? And so you get those messages at all hours of the day, and I'm happy to answer them because I love helping people catch fish, man.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate every single one of you. And until next time, we'll see you on the river.
Later, guys.